All right. Welcome to another Biddle.
A what?
What?
Biddle. Big Daddy Linux Live, dude.
Oh, Big Daddy Biddle, Biddle. Oh, Biddle. There we
Awesome.
go.
Like that you adopted that name.
Well, let's start with the bees then. So we were talking about Bitwarden before we started. So
Biddles and Bitwardens.
Bitwarden,
Yes,
password manager.
I was actually saying I've never used it before. I'm not sure how it works, whether you can access it from your mobile phones and so forth.
So it is an extension, Michael.
Yes. Technically, I mean, it's a combination of things, but the way you interacted with it is an extension. So, like, what you do is you can use their service that's built that they provide, and it's free, or you can pay the pro version, which is $10 a year. Which I would, even if I didn't, and like even if I didn't use their service and self-hosted, which I do, I'll still give them $10 a year because it's way worth it. It's worth more than that.
Right.
So what's cool about it is that it's an extension that you integrate with their servers or your own, and you can do. They're going to have their own downloadable like standalone thing, but it's an extension for your browser and an app for your phone, and it integrates however you want to do it, like whether you self-hosted or their servers, and you just log into it, and you can, if you want, which I suggest, is to set up two-factor authentication so that when you log in, it checks your phone to say, is this a real person type thing, and then it's like it allows you to have a much easier experience for password manager than even LastPass, which was shocking to me. There's a feature that Bitwarden has that made me like really mad at myself for not having tried it previously. And that's a rare thing, I think, for like when something's so good, it makes you mad at yourself. But so I don't remember what the question was before it started.
That's all right.
That was
So if I self-host this, basically like a droplet, is what you're talking about?
Yeah, you can put it on any server. You can even do it on your own computer. You can put it on a local computer and not even put it to the net. Oh, I remember now. So what the security aspect, people are afraid of, like, some people are afraid of like having a password manager because you're kind of trusting something with a lot of sensitive information. That's a fair enough problem, like, concern. Like, you should be concerned about something like that. But the reason why this works is because the algorithms that Bitwarden uses are like tried and true type of algorithms. So they've been in existence for years, and they've been tested in many cases, and they've been audited and tried to like crush, and they're surviving quite well so far. But what's cool about it is that the algorithms they run and process on your computer. So the extension itself is also doing the encryption. So when you unlock your vault, what it does is brings the data to your side of your computer, then unlocks it, shows you your content. Then when you send it back to Bitwarden, it re-encrypts it all, then sends it to them. So the only thing they ever see on their servers is just gibberish. So if anyone hacks them or anyone at their company decides to be a jerk or whatever, they can't do anything anyway because all they see is just a bunch of gibberish encrypted data. So it's just like impossible to use bits is all they see. And that's the reason why I like any password manager that adopts that, because I'm pretty sure LastPass kind of started doing that with the extensions, but Bitwarden does that too. So it doesn't. So like you don't have to worry about that storing on their servers usually, because the way this is structured. Like I can't absolutely guarantee this because I don't have access to their servers or anything like that. But based on looking at their code for the admittedly a limited amount I did, it does seem to do what I expected it to do, which is local encryption passed to the network, through the network to the sender. So everything they receive is worthless in terms of like actually accessible.
So that's different from LastPass, who was actually storing passwords on their server, or no?
No, they do the same thing as far as encryption. They do the encryption on your end, and then they store the gibberish as well. I wasn't really necessarily suggesting that Bitwarden is any more secure to LastPass in that respect, other than the fact that we know the algorithms that are being used by Bitwarden, and we don't really know exactly what LastPass is doing. We know for a little bit, like they do suggest like they use AES 256 and like all that, but like we don't know for sure because their code is not open source. So they could have stuff on the back end that is like sending some kind of signal to during the process to like remove it. Who knows? Who knows? It's possible. But we do have the code on the front end and the back end for Bitwarden. So I'm much more, likely to trust that when I can actually see the code. And based on the code that I have used, I'm okay with trusting it. And I have it, you can have it on your own server if you want, or you can just use their service. That's why when I first saw LastPass, the thing I wanted was like, just someone make an open source version of this and I'm in. And you got me, I will participate, I'll help, I'll contribute code, whatever. And then when I found Bitwarden, it was like, that's exactly what I wanted. Like it does enough to make it easy to use. It's like, it's convenient for people who are not technicals or not tech savvy, but it also provides the tech savvy layer of self-hosting and all that if you want it to. So that's fantastic. Like, honestly, that's way more than I expected. I didn't even expect self-hosting. Just open source was fine, but they even add the self-hosting on top of it, and it's like,
the question I have is when you go to log into something on the internet, how does that work? Like, you logging in from when you logged into them, or you go to the site and then you use?
No, it's on your browser. So like the passwords are decrypted when you open your browser. So like if you install this extension, you log into the extension, and that decrypts your password. And every time you open your browser, it decrypts your passwords again, so that when you need to access them, you can. So when you go to a website and you say, okay, I need to log in, you just click the little Bitwarden icon, and then it'll show you all the passwords and stuff that will match whatever website you're going to.
Okay.
And you just click on the one you want to log into, and it will just automatically fill it into the box.
So those passwords are generated by Bitwarden themselves, is that correct?
I mean, yeah, it's this. The extension does the password generation, yes, but the generation is done on your computer as well.
Does it capture passwords? Like does it capture new logins? Like if you go to a website?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It doesn't capture it in general. Like it offers you to save it if you want to.
Right.
So what about your current password? So if I was to log into something I already had a password for, and I've just started up Bitwarden, how do you have to log out and re-log back in so it refreshes the password itself, or how does that work? These are the things.
It'll ask if you change the password on the thing. It'll ask if you want to save it again, save like a new one. I haven't changed much passwords yet. I've been adding new passwords, so I've seen that, but I haven't really changed existing ones because all my passwords are like gibberish things anyway. So
any passwords already stored though, Colin? No, it won't capture them unless you have the ability to export them and then import them into Bitwarden. And that's very simple.
Like if you already have it in Bitwarden and then you change it on the website, will it notice that you changed it?
Yeah, absolutely. But if you're going straight, you install Bitwarden, you've got nothing stored, you go straight to a website, it won't know what password is stored and it won't capture it because you haven't put it in. You have to export it and then import it.
That's true.
Okay.
But I mean, Colin.
But if you entered it manually once, it would ask you to save it, right?
Yes, you can. Correct. You can manually add passwords as well. Like I typically prefer to manually do it. That way, I can guarantee it's accurate. I don't have to worry about because even if they do automatically add it, I'm still going to manually go check and make sure it's right. Because if you save the password's wrong, that could be problematic.
That's right.
Ryan, you said you use it?
Yeah, I've been using it. I used other password manager before, but I just switched after Michael recommended it. It's solid. It works very well. It works great on mobile. It works great on the desktop. It has all it. Honestly, I couldn't tell the difference between it and LastPass and Dashlane. Well, now that Dashlane's on Linux, but that's saying something because you can self-host this one very easily, and so that in itself is what is the difference. You get that kind of same experience, but you can self-host it a little more secure.
Yeah. Its ease of use is basically on par with LastPass, and on the mobile version, it's beyond better than LastPass.
Right.
Hell yeah!
I hate the LastPass mobile app because I have this weird, security conscious idea of like I don't want to leave my password on my app on Android that's always vulnerable from all kinds of different aspects to always log into all of my passwords. Crazy, I know. But sorry. So you have to manually log into the LastPass every single time you use it. And so you have two options. One, remember your password and type it in every time, which is fine. Remembering it, you should. But manually typing it, my password is like 120 characters. I don't want to do that.
Really? 120 characters?
Or you could set it up as a fingerprint.
I did say I'm weird, okay? So
120 characters?
I did.
That's beyond weird, dude.
Yeah,
No,
he's just making sure any brute force attacks are very, very long time to date.
The brute force
My
attacks will
regular
take
passwords are not that-
3,485,000,000 years to break, but
But what's
Yeah.
scary was he said he could remember it.
Yes. So, okay, I'm weird.
God, I
fine,
was
whatever.
paranoid.
But
also,
It's a
jeez.
lot different than Rocco's password. It's
The next
so it's
question is,
incredibly long.
what are you hiding? What are you
So
hiding?
1, 2, 3, 4 is not secure.
We're missing the point here.
Wait, hold on.
No, we're not.
Hi, Barb. Hi, Shane. What's going on?
Hey,
Hi,
Barb,
everybody.
Hi, everybody.
how's it
We're
going?
listening to Michael dig himself in deeper and deeper here.
No,
Okay,
I'm
now
okay with that.
continue why you would ridiculously
I'm
have a
okay.
120
I was going to say,
character
continue digging the hole, Michael.
Okay, so what I was saying was
I mean,
is that when you want to do
Here's
this
the
thing
shovel.
in LastPass, it's very annoying. Whereas if you use Bitwarden, they make it easier. Okay.
all right, we'll
Okay,
we'll let that drop.
Here it is.
Clunk.
This is actually important. If you haven't tried Bitwarden, this is a reason why you might want to. Because if you ever use it on mobile, it will be so much better. Because with LastPass, you have to save the password in plain text so you can copy and paste it, or type it in manually every time. But Bitwarden has a thing where you log in and you save the password, but it sets up a PIN code so that you have to manually put in a 4-digit PIN code every time you open the app. So you only have to remember 4 digits in order to get it in.
But doesn't that defeat your 120 character password?
It's encrypted, so no.
No, it's encrypted. Yeah, the password itself
So
is
would-
not saved. It's not
so would-
accessible. Once
So
even-
would a 4-digit character
Somebody
password.
had physical access to his device.
Yeah, they have the main thing is the app. If on LastPass, if you have the app activated, you log it in and you just open the app, you automatically have access. So if you have an app that's somehow infected your phone and it's scraping whatever it sees on the screen, it has access to it anyway, like automatically. Whereas on Bitwarden, you have to, it actually has to get past that barrier first. But the barrier is simple enough that anybody can just remember 4 digits and not have to worry about, admittedly, a crazy long password. So, like, it's as far as like, it's got the security aspects and the convenience aspects. Now, there are some things on the desktop that is not as convenient, but the mobile version is way more convenient than any other thing I've tried.
Is Bitwarden able to be set up with a fingerprint for your mobile phone?
I don't have a phone that has fingerprints, so I have no idea.
Okay.
It does on the iPhone, Rocco.
Well, if it does on the iPhone, then it probably does on the Android.
Probably not.
Wow. You're just an Android hater. That's what you are.
Well, I mean, the iPhone is top
True.
notch.
Okay. So what does everybody
Well,
use
it has
right
a top
now
notch.
for password managers? Because I use NPass right now. And if it's going to be better than NPass, I'll try it.
I haven't tried InPass. I don't know. I was using LastPass and KeyPass XC. I don't like KeyPass.
KeyPass is okay. It's okay, but it's so like old.
It's painful too.
It's painful. It's painful.
Like it's a lot of people who are like, I love KeyPass because it's open source and because it's like, yeah, and Bitwarden is the same but good.
It even says on their website, right there at the top, open source.
Yeah, open source, self-hostable, awesome.
All right. So, what does everybody use for their password manager? Besides you, Michael and Brian, you use
What you don't?
Bitwarden
You
too.
don't?
Well, you already use Bitwarden, right?
Yep.
What's? Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I don't use one.
You don't use one, Colin. Barb, what do you use?
No.
I don't use one.
You don't. How do you people log into sites? Like you manually log in every time?
With the same password.
No, it's
one
not the
that's
same
registered, it
password.
doesn't
But the
matter,
thing is,
yeah.
Or they
if
get
you-
Chrome to save it.
if you put it, if you
You're on
punch it in long
Firefox.
enough, it's like the old days to say you used to remember all phone numbers, and most people now are not remembering them because they're on
What's the
speed
phone
dial on
number?
the mobile phone. So if you are typing in something all the time, you will remember it, especially for different sites and all that. You remember it, right? Because you're doing it all the time.
how many sites do you go to that you have an account with? How many passwords are different? How are they? Are they
They
unique?
should
enough?
all be different.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
point.
they're all different passwords. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You got a good memory, dude. You got a better memory than me because
Well,
I
and
never remember.
I've got a bad memory, but I mean, sometimes there are ways of remembering them, but
What's
or
the
you
show
put it
called?
down somewhere.
What's
Sorry?
that?
I said, what's this show called?
It's called securing your password.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I don't even think Rocco's made up his mind what the show's called yet.
I said it's called Biddle.
Biddle.
I mean, jeez.
Biddle.
Hello.
Biddle.
Matt, what do you use for a password manager? Oh
I don't-
my gosh.
Now, good. I'm glad I'm not alone.
Shane?
I actually use KeyPass X too.
Okay. That's painful.
I think I'd rather remember my passwords.
I might try to remember my passwords before using KeyPass.
Props to those that use it. I mean, hey, if you find it useful, awesome.
Pete?
I use Pass.
What is that?
It's like,
My password manager?
Command line revolves around GBG keys.
Oh.
Pass
all
is cool
geeky like.
and painful.
Well,
I like
I'm going
Pass
to try
more than-
Bitwarden.
I like Pass more than KeyPass though.
Now, I used Dashlane when I was back in the Windows days, so it's about time to get up with the times with working through a browser extension. But it's a little
We
too
don't
late
talk
for
about that other OS, Rocco.
Some
Why?
of us have to.
Speaking
Guilty
of OS,
too.
Rocco, how's your XFCE going?
Well, Colin, now that you mention that, let's get on the topic of XFCE here, will you? Let's get on it. Like, I wanted to so bad, I wanted XFCE to
You know,
work, dude.
XFCE is meant for experienced users. You have to have some
Yes, you're right.
Right.
And I definitely don't have the experience to use XFCE. It's way too complicated for me, Colin. And
Come on, Rocco.
Rocco, would you
I'll
say
make my video tomorrow for you, all
would
right?
you say KDE's easier?
I would say KDE might work better right now. I'm just saying.
Now, KDE is not easier; it's more familiar to him. That's what it is. It's more familiar.
No.
But
No, like, I swear, like, I have a bug magnet for my computer. Like, if there's a bug in the system and only 1% of the users are affected by it, I'm going to find it. It's just the way it is.
you're not talking Control Escape, are you? That's not a bug.
No. I'm not even talking. I'm not even talking about the ridiculous fact that the super key is not the default key to open up the whisker menu. I'm not even talking about that ridiculousness. That would be ridiculous for me to talk about. I'm talking about
I don't know
the
where
fact
comes
that
from, to be honest.
I'm talking about the fact that when I open up Plank, my panel shows up in Plank as an application that I can minimize. And when I click it, I minimize my whole panel. That's what I'm talking about.
Rocco,
see, that's your problem.
how dare you complain about user experience in a Linux distro?
I'm talking about the fact that I have my Wi-Fi icon in my system tray and my app indicator. There's two of them.
Well, your first problem is
User
you
error.
install Plank. You don't need Plank.
I thought the first problem was it was XFCE.
Oh, I'm
but-
sorry. I'm sorry. I
don't
thought this
need
was
a
a Linux
dock.
distribution that I could install
don't
anything I
need it.
wanted.
It's
You don't need third party.
built-in dock.
That's it. That's it. Anything that doesn't work, we don't need that, right? We
Tweak,
shouldn't need that.
tweak,
No way.
tweak. I can't stress it enough. Just tweak the desktop. You don't need a third
Don't
party.
install any programs. Oh, that's right. I'm talking about the fact that that everything worked great until I installed the NVIDIA drivers, and then Steam had an error, an OpenGL error, wouldn't open, and now Zoom wouldn't open
It's
because for
amazing
whatever
that
reason.
we nearly have matching hardware, and yet
I'm telling you,
here I am.
What XFCE did you install?
Ubuntu 17.10.
Should have gone Manjaro XFCE. I installed it yesterday. I clicked on Zoom. Next.
Zeb, I installed Ubuntu and Zoom came up fine. It was only after I installed the NVIDIA driver.
See, Heather gets it. XFCE rocks. Then Joe gets it. You need to watch my customization video, Rocco. That'll help you out.
And I'll upload
Yeah, to
mine.
send you,
And
to
Rocco,
send you
I'll
running
upload
the
my
opposite
video
way of
tomorrow.
it.
This
And
in the
take a
chat. This
tip
Tux
from
Digital
Brad
guy
Davis
gets it.
when he
He's
was
like
on.
plasma.
Nobody's listened to that Tux Digital guy for years.
If you want the clock in the middle, just do yourself 3 panels at the top.
I
Works
did.
out.
I
Ryan,
did.
That's
It
how
works
long it
great.
takes him to do a video. Get it right.
No, but see, here, look, these are the reasons why I'm not making videos right now. Because I go to make a video on Ubuntu and I got nothing but problems, and yet everybody else
But you
installs
keep
it,
installing
and
this
it
on
runs-
secondary hard drives, right?
and it runs fine for everybody else. For me, it's like,
Sure,
I'll
that hard
upload
drive
the
you're
video
installing it
tomorrow,
on is not
Rocco.
corrupt.
I am sure that the hardware was not
No,
corrupt.
the hard drive specifically.
The hard drive specifically, because Manjaro GNOME was running fine, perfectly fine.
Oh, this is your main hard drive.
No, this is this is this is the drive that I had Manjaro GNOME on that I was running forever,
Thank you.
and it
Dad.
was running perfectly fine. And then I switched to Ubuntu. Remember? So I started running Ubuntu, but I left the Manjaro GNOME installation there. So I figure, hey, I'll install it there, and
I thought you were using GNOME and loved it.
I do.
What happened?
I was infected by that guy up in the
everyone's told
top
him-
middle there who
Challenge.
Yeah,
said
that guy.
XFC is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
No, you guys.
Sometimes just hunks of bread are better instead of slices.
See that
Right?
gnome behind Rocco right there? It
Yeah.
talks to him and it tells him install XFC.
That gnome that says I love XFC.
Hey, we named that gnome. It's named G.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
because you gotta have a
it's
gut.
it's GNOME gnome.
No.
I was going to say, is that not GNOME Gnome?
We
Actually,
talk
use
about that. We talk about that in Destination Linux.
Yep.
Nice.
What
You're
is it
in our
with-
episode,
in-
Michael.
What is it with NVIDIA drivers at the moment? I don't know whether I've got a Toshiba laptop. No matter what distro I put on, NVIDIA drivers does not work. I cannot get rid of screen tearing. It's a GT745M NVIDIA. It must be one of the most worst video cards I've ever come across. Is it just my video card
No,
or is there something
anytime
up
you're
with
with an
NVIDIA?
NVIDIA, you got to go force the composition pipeline.
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't
Really?
work. It does
I
not
don't
work. And I've tried that. I don't know how many times, run from the command line.
Are you sure you're actually saving it? Because a lot of times, if you don't run it
it's
as
saved.
sudo, it doesn't save. When
It's
you reboot.
saved. No doubt about it.
I've never had
It
any
doesn't work.
issues outside of that. Once I
Yeah,
once
I've
I
never
do
had
that,
any issues with NVIDIA. Must be because it's a weird mobile one. It's funny because Ski
Maybe.
said he bought a 1050 GTX probably today for you guys, and he said he's tried everything and he can't get rid of screen tearing, so he's gone back
Yeah.
to his old AMD card.
The only thing that stopped screen tearing for me was the uncheck the allow flipping.
No, but that's not. See, this is the thing. That is not in the NVIDIA settings anymore. The allow flipping and all that other stuff that used to be there. No matter all the latest NVIDIA drivers up to 384, it's not there. There's no allow flipping and stuff anymore. It's gone. So I reckon somebody's changed the NVIDIA settings or NVIDIA themselves or whatever. I don't know.
Well, I am running 384,
384.98, and it's there.
and it's there for me.
Not in
under-
mine, it's not.
It's under OpenGL settings, and you have sync to VBlank and allow flipping. Those are the two
So-
options.
It's a hardware specific thing, isn't it? It must be. It's got to be.
I don't know, but it's
Well-
there. Let's put it that way.
What OS you running, Colin?
Name it.
Sorry, what OS?
You name it. You name it. I'll be running it.
He's been
And I'll
running
try-
them all.
So
I'll
if you're
try
running
all of them.
Ubuntu, you've put the NVIDIA PPA on it, or the Ubuntu PPA that gets the latest.
It's on 384. It's in 1710. It's on 384. The only one that it doesn't happen. Well, actually, the OpenGL ones work better than the NVIDIA. But if you was gaming on this, then you wouldn't be able to do it because.
And what
NVIDIA
card do you
drivers-
have, Colin?
GT 745M.
It's a mobile.
Yeah, it's a mobile one.
745.
Well,
That's an odd one.
I wonder
Yeah, it
if
is an odd one,
the
yeah.
option's just not there for that anymore. Like
I don't
just for
think it's
just for
supported.
that card.
Well, what about Ski? He seems to be having the same problem too.
Well, he has a brand new card, and depending on which version of, like the 1050, is not a good card for
No,
support.
you bought the TI, I think.
Oh, a TI. Okay, it's better as far as like supported wise. The 1080 has the best support so far of that line.
He's going to kill me because he's in chat, but it's probably just Ski. Sorry, Ski. I love you lots, mate.
So here's a so Bradley in the chat is asking whether you should uncheck or check allow flipping. I
Yeah,
haven't.
check it, is it?
It's got to be unchecked
Yeah.
to stop the tearing.
You know what's funny? I've been using Linux for so long, and I've experienced tearing for so long. I don't notice it anymore.
I can't believe you, of all people, don't notice it.
The
The guy with an 120 character password doesn't notice screen tearing.
Because it's not
Really?
important.
I'm choosing. I you know how when you have like when you now that okay I just made myself do it. When you don't think about it, you don't see your nose. But when you do think about it, you do see your nose. It's the
True.
same thing. I don't see the screen tearing because I know it's there, but I pretend it's not and just ignore it.
Well,
Right.
Michael knows that.
That's not a solution. I'm just saying I'm crazy.
Well, going back to XFCE, I really want to like XFCE, and there's a lot to like about it. I just don't understand what all the problems are from, dude. I just don't. The Steam problem kills me. I mean, of all things right now, you would think that would be the one thing that would work the
And
best.
Is it ending up with some sort of glib.so error?
No, it's I forget what it's called. OpenGL Air GL Display. Yeah, I can't remember what it is.
If
Let me
I
see
lived
can-
near you, I'd come install it for you. But
Wow. Wow.
I think you should,
That's the most the polite non offer ever.
You know what your problem is, Rocco? You should be running probably GNOME desktop or something like that.
I should. Oh, that's right. I am right now because I couldn't get XFCE to work right for the stream. I couldn't even open up Steam to play Rocket League with Ryan earlier.
let me ask you a question, Rocco. Are you using the ISO or are you using a why can I not think of it? BitTorrent or Torrent?
ISO.
Are you direct ISO download? Okay. I've had lots of issues recently with torrents and multiple distros where I initially was kind of doing a review and having massive problems, and then I'd go download the actual ISO instead, and all those issues were gone. I don't know what the difference is, but
It could be who you're getting the torrents from or what torrent client you're using. If you're using transmission, there you go.
Yes. Problem solved.
Problem solved. Yeah.
What's the one you use, Michael?
I would. There's two that are good. One, like I'm pretty sure Deluge is GTK. So if you're a GTK user, Deluge. If you prefer Qt, then Qbit Torrent.
Yep, I like Deluge. That's a good one.
Jonas, what's up, man?
Oh,
Hey, Jonas.
pretty good. How y'all doing tonight?
Good.
Green. We destroyed this trash talker in Rocket League. You guys,
it was pretty awesome.
This guy's like, Michael, you would be so proud of us. These guys were beating us pretty bad. And then they started talking trash. They were like, hey, maybe you guys should forfeit and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, oh, yeah? You want us to forfeit? Game on. And then we just completely came back and dominated them. It's on the channel. It's
overtime goal. It was awesome.
Oh,
I have to watch that. And that's awesome.
So did you record it?
Yes, it's on my channel.
Oh, brilliant.
Don't watch the first half of it where we lost every round.
Don't watch the first
Just
half.
Skip
that.
Skip further back.
We were warming up.
Well, the good news is I'm learning to chase the ball around. I haven't actually hit it yet.
Well, did you use Michael? I don't know if you saw it. Michael has this recommendation. It was on the video before the one I just recorded where he gives me some settings to use in Rocket League. Changed my life. I mean, you can see stuff. It's kind of amazing.
I don't know how well it would be for someone who's just starting playing, but it might be useful. I don't know. I was already like pretty good before I changed my camera settings, so I don't know how it would change the learning curve or anything.
So Xbox controller or keyboard and mouse?
I'm a controller.
What's the best for a newbie? Controller?
My opinion, the controller is the best regardless.
Cool. I'll keep chasing the ball with the controller then.
Yeah. You can do much more with the controller because you can do these different combinations and weird angles. Although you would want to change your control scheme to do all these weird, but that's a later on when you start playing, you start learning more techniques, then you change your control scheme to match those techniques. Because the default control scheme, the default camera and control schemes are very good for learning the game and the mechanics of the game. They are trash otherwise. Like once you get used to the game, it's not worth it anymore.
I use a keyboard and mouse,
that's not
but
the same in America.
I know what that means. That's not what I meant.
That's why we always do that.
Rose, you're exactly right. It shouldn't be an issue anymore. Rose said that there should not be screen tearing. It should not be an issue. It shouldn't be such a problem.
Yeah,
It's not an issue in Wayland.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's not an issue in Wayland. They just remove all NVIDIA. So there you go.
NVIDIA.
No, I'm saying it's not an issue in Wayland in general because the way it's built, it can't happen.
Exactly, it can't happen because you can't boot into it with NVIDIA.
You can, sort of.
You just can't do anything with it.
I mean,
you can't boot into it with NVIDIA.
You can't boot it into it with an Ubuntu with NVIDIA.
So you can't.
So there goes 90% of the distros.
So you obviously can't, if you're running Wayland, you can't game, is it? There's no way
Not
of
yet,
game.
no, definitely not.
No. Okay.
Although if you have AMD drivers, you have AMD hardware, you have AMD drivers, and you have a game like F1 2017 that's based solely on Vulkan, that would work. So your count right now is
I think you're wrong, Michael. I think you're wrong because I'm sure you could play Tux.
Super Tux Kart?
Yeah, I'm sure you could play that.
Probably. Because of the super great graphics there.
It's Ryan's favorite game, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right along with Hannah Montana.
I actually had a lot of people on my channel ask me to play that game on my channel, and I've never done it. I play it, and I'm like, this is one of those games that it looks fun. It's like Mario Kart, and I love Mario Kart, but it's one of those games that I think you had to start with it originally to really enjoy it, and keep watching. Because trying to get into it now is just, there's just
you just
not a
need
lot
people to
there.
play with you on the game, but I don't think the online works.
Yeah.
Last time I tried it was like, no.
I mean, it looks great if you love that Mario Kart stuff.
Yeah, I wish they updated the graphics so I didn't look like it was N64.
That would help too.
Just,
it is getting updates still, so there's that.
That is.
Or
and they
you
actually
could
released
play a
updates.
real game.
Like Rocket League?
Yeah, like Rocket League.
Or any other game but
or Solitaire. That would be better, I think.
Send your email to Rocco
Minesweep.
at
I mean, checkers, something, anything. Come on.
Oh my gosh, Rocco!
Don't be
I'm
hating
sorry.
on pinball.
I was talking about this game that I saw today that was on sale for the Steam sale, and in my show I was calling it the wrong name of the game, and then at the end of the thing I realized I was calling the thing wrong. I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it in there.
Just roll.
I'm just gonna roll with my mistake. I'll just fix it now. It's like this is what it's really called.
Oops.
Let's forget the other parts. But it's a Signal from Tolva. It's a alien first person shooter thing.
And what were you calling it?
Signs of Tolva. So it was somewhat sort of close to
sort of similar.
He had Tolva in there at least.
Yeah.
I focused on saying Tolva correctly and forgot the other normal words.
That's not as bad as, like me covering American Truck Simulator or Euro Truck Simulator 2 on Destination Linux, like months after it came out, acting like it was brand new.
Well, to you, it probably was.
Well, to you, it was brand new.
Wait, how does it end up in my RSS feed? How does it end up there if it's not if the article is from 6 months ago?
I've noticed RSS feeds screw up sometimes because
How does
I'll
that
be
happen?
looking at an article and it'll be like, "Hey, Mint's just come out with Mint 15," and I'm like, "Gosh, it seems like we're further along than that."
There's an issue sometimes.
Knowing you, Rocco, your RSS feed runs on XFCE.
Maybe you may be right.
GNOME.
That's probably why it doesn't work.
I use GNOME. Thanks.
What's with the hate?
So speaking of Linux names, if you want to go to OMG Ubuntu and look at the new Electron app that's just come out.
Oh, jeez.
I am not even going to attempt to even try and explain what the name is. So anybody know?
You're welcome.
What is it?
Cumulonimbus.
It's a type of cloud.
It's a cloud-based application, so they have two clouds combined into
Okay.
a name.
I believe you, Michael.
Cumulus and Nimbus clouds combined. Cumulonimbus.
Remember your Earth science from way back?
No.
Earth what?
Yeah, that's okay. We'll let give you a pass.
So
you will now.
So he says that it's a terrible name on that. The title of the article is a terrific app with a terrible name.
That's exactly. He says that right in the beginning.
He's correct. It is awful. What's hilarious is that the developer of that app said review on his GitHub page that says terrible name, terrific app. It's like, he embraced
That's going to be his phrase.
He's like, I'm okay with it as long as you talk about it.
People will remember it. That's
I'm going to laugh if that's what he changes the app name to.
Terrible name. Great app.
Let's just name it Fred. Right, Ryan?
Yeah, there you go.
Name it Bob.
There's a
Taylor George.
That's one of the worst names. There's one that someone sent to me on my live chat today, my live stream. I mean, and they said, "Have you tried out Smooth Video Player?" I was like, "No, I've never heard of that one." And I was like, "What? I use MPV. Is it better than MPV?" He's like, "Oh no. It's a converter." What? It's named player, but it's a converter.
Nice. It's smooth.
No.
It's very smooth.
Somebody was confused.
That's some smooth marketing.
No, he said he linked me to it, and it actually is named player, but it doesn't play anything.
That's great.
Yeah, whoever named it was totally confused.
Clearly.
It's implied. Okay, what it does is on the fly transcoding so that you can play it in different applications more easily, which is still a terrible name.
Mm-hmm.
They could have just called it Smooth Transcoder.
Yeah, I'll keep my MPV.
Or they could have just named it Smooth, whatever it does.
Operator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
She's a smooth operator. That's right.
But, the MPV is easily the best.
No,
MPV
it's
is a
not.
good video player, actually.
Yeah, it is. I love MPV.
SM Player is better. SM Player is better.
Isn't SM Player built on MPV?
Yeah, it is.
And what's your point?
that it's MPV at its core.
I'm confuzzled.
I'd still rather run SM Player than MP Player though.
Like MPV is good because it has technical issues that if you first start using it and you have to learn all the keyboard shortcuts, but it's a fantastic player and it plays everything and it does everything well and it's got awesome features. It's just here's a UI that you're gonna hate, but there's like 1,000 keyboard shortcuts you can learn that are very cool.
And that's why there's SM Player.
Yeah, but SM Player doesn't have the best feature of MPV.
What's that?
Actually, I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
He just makes it sound good.
But it did sound good. But I don't know if it's
Get
true.
the shovel out, Michael.
It looks
No.
awesome.
Even,
It looks awesome in window managers.
So what it might not have, I don't know, is if you hit Q, if you hit Q on the application, it'll close it. If you hit Shift Q, it will close it, save metadata where you are, like a chapter bookmark. So when you load up the application again, it will play back whatever it is. So like it'll start where you saved it. What's amazing is that it not only does it work on local media, it also works on YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
SM Player does that by default.
Well, then it's MPVs. You should think MPV.
So SM Player is the best player.
No,
maybe
out there.
you're right.
And
you
it
could
probably
say
looks
SM
better.
Player
Huh?
is a very good GUI for MPV.
I was going to
Player
say it's
looks pretty
SM
good.
Player. SM Player was someone's attempt to slap a GUI on MPV.
Yeah, and it works well.
And it works really well.
What about GNOME MPV?
Right? Yeah, well, what about
Next.
Bitwarden working way better and looking better than KeyPass?
Yes, we're Bitwarden automatic.
Exactly.
I still love KeyPass.
So there's something to say for working well and looking good.
Quickly going back over chat, did you ever find out?
And it's a cute app, right? So there you go. Well, you should like it.
Rocco, how dare you like aesthetics in an application?
Yes, I know. It's ridiculous of me to think that something should look good while you're using it, huh?
I think MPV looks fine.
Yeah, sure. It looks great.
Yeah, that's like saying VLC looks great.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the UI is just overlaid, basic overlay of like, it's a nice single color overlay. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Sure, it's great. There's nothing wrong with it.
It just looks like Dogpile from 1990.
It's not like I'm saying open up Emacs in cursive.
Kind of like
terminal. It's like the most amazing thing ever. I'm not saying it.
Did somebody give him a shovel, please?
Wait, I think I have a garden trowel. You want me to get it?
We're actually running out of shovels.
It's not asking you to watch stuff.
I might need a post hole digger at this point.
Michael, do you want me to go find you a paintbrush? Because you just keep painting yourself into a corner, buddy.
Oh no, he's just digging holes even deeper.
Yes, I would like a paintbrush so I could do the Wile E. Coyote thing and just make a tunnel.
No, seriously though, I don't understand you being a plasma acute guy.
Shortcuts. How many letters is his password?
120.
So he's going to go with 1,000 shortcuts.
You know what? Michael is never going to be early for another stream again.
He was.
He must be embarrassed.
It's pretty good.
Hey, Michael, what was that 40% comment earlier on your screen, buddy?
On a plus point, he was early for his own show today, or he was on time for his own show today.
I couldn't believe it.
On time for this show. All my editing for my streams is done, and I don't have to do anything tomorrow. So, woo.
So you're batting 333 for the
You don't have anything to do tomorrow except play Rocket League.
That I can do. Yes.
Yep.
Quickly going back over chat, did we find out what that guy was on about with Black Arch?
Chip, he was talking about Black Arch. I don't know what he was. I didn't see that he mentioned what he was talking about. He just said, "Have you guys heard the news about Black Arch or something like that?"
There was a new release for their distro. Like this week, there was a release, new version of Black Arch and a new version of Kali.
Yeah, I see it here on Distro Watch. It's probably where.
Yeah, but there was some controversy over it or something. But he didn't extrapolate.
Yeah, he didn't say what it was about.
I didn't look into that part.
Yeah, Tom, we can't hear you, mate.
Okay, so I did look at the SM Player. So
Yeah.
here's
so,
why I didn't.
So talk to
install
me.
it.
Talk
Here's
to me.
why I didn't install it. Their screenshots are atrocious.
Oh, their screenshots are atrocious.
Look at it. Go to their website. Look at their screenshots. It's a GUI thing. Maybe the most important part is the screenshots of their application. They're atrocious.
All right, how's that? Can I on now?
You're on now, brother.
All right, I don't have my good mic hooked up, but that's all right. I'll use this one.
I do find that quite an interesting dynamic that you're complaining about screenshots when you're talking about your favorite one being one that has a million keyboard shortcuts but has the aesthetic of Dogpile.
All right, I will agree that their screenshots are not the best.
Yeah. And my point is, it's a GUI for something, and that's all it is. It's a GUI. So the most important thing to do is to present the best looking GUI they have, and their screenshots are disgusting.
I'll admit the screenshots aren't the greatest.
Like 19.
I will give you that one.
Yeah, that's why I remember looking at this and was like, oh, cool, a GUI. Then I looked at it, I was like, ugh, a GUI.
If everyone in chat wants to see what we're talking about, go to tuxdigital.com/atrocious.
That's not a thing.
Can you make it a thing really
it will
quick?
Be in a second.
Why don't you just take a screenshot with the system screenshot?
I only link the things that I like. Okay.
I have found SM Player to be a really good player that doesn't have issues. Like VLC used to be the go-to player for most things, and I had issues with VLC in the last, say, year or so, where things wouldn't play, it would crash, and that's why I went looking for another player. And SM Player's been like rock solid with everything that I've done and everything that I've played, no matter what type of file it is, and it looks good doing it. So
you're right. Yeah. It is MPV doing all of that for you.
MPV core.
I suppose ignorance is.
My problem with VLC,
to be
my
fair,
problem with VLC was when you're watching the videos, they would just suddenly spaz out and then take another 2 or 3 seconds to come back. And no matter whether I chose Blender or one of the other video display attributes, it would do exactly the same. SM Player doesn't do that.
It's the artifacting that VLC has had a problem with for like 5 years. I hate it, especially when you're doing on streaming. It does it so often. MPV, the core of SM Player, does fantastic rendering of networks and all that stuff. So like, I mean, if SM Player has, like, I guess I'll install it and look at it.
So what you're telling me is that it's really not KDE Neon that's actually doing the work. It's the core of Ubuntu that's doing the work, right? Right? It's the core that KDE Neon's built on is what makes KDE Neon so great, right?
It kind of got you there, Michael.
No, because Ubuntu doesn't provide Plasma, and Plasma what makes it.
But it provides the rock solid stability base for Neon to run on.
Well, it's different.
Yeah, you don't know
something. Whereas you're talking about how a player runs actual video, which the core.
I'm talking the overall player. The overall player is awesome. The way it looks, the way it acts, the way it runs, everything about it.
Right.
Is awesome.
That is he is making a fair comparison because the thing you are using is the thing that you look at, you interact with. It doesn't matter if it's Neon, Unity, or whatever.
But he's comparing the rendering and the problems that VLC has with the non problems of the core or something. I'm not referring to anything about Neon being good in comparison to anything else. So, thank you. No more digging for me.
Well,
Michael, we still have plenty of time, so keep your shovel out.
You must try SM Player. That's all I'm saying.
I double click a
He's going to go
video.
off stream and get a shovel now.
I actually thought about it.
I double click a video, I play it, and then I close it. I watch my video, and that's it. I don't even touch anything else most of the time. So that's just the way I use my video players.
Yeah, but a lot of times, like most of your files are online nowadays. But there were times where I had like different file types, multiple different file types. And, you know, like I said, VLC was always the go-to video player for everybody, but it had issues with different file types. And SM Player doesn't seem to have any issues with any file types.
So, hi.
But I think also, I think the MP4 has become, or the X264 MP4 has become so dominant now. I don't think we have as many issues as we used to have.
No, I don't think we do either, Colin. Yeah, I don't think we do.
Is the open source implementation of H.264, and it is the most dominant with MP. It's a video codec. And the audio codec is different because that's usually AAC, and then there's also sometimes there's an MPEG audio codec, and there's. All right, continue.
I think I heard H.264.
I think he just told us in words what his password was.
Yes, I think that's what
he did. So to be fair, I just want to point out, while I'm giving you a hard time about the SM Player and the core of MPV, MPV is a fork of MPlayer. So anyway,
right. So and I'm going to be perfect. I mean, I just want to say one more thing about your password, Michael. How the heck do you remember what it is? How do you remember what it is that long?
He uses the saying like, "I wish I was Rocco and I dream about having his hair one day." That could be his. It's a phrase.
Whoa.
Now add in special characters.
Ryan. To be fair, that is a good point. That might be a good password, but
yeah, you got good hair too, man. Yeah.
Seriously though, how do you remember 120 password characters?
Rocco can't let it go. It's killing him.
I don't understand how you remember 120 password characters.
I'll give you an example. It's a combination of things that don't make any sense, but they flow well. And it also has a bunch of symbols and stuff and numbers and all this other stuff that makes a combination that to most people makes no sense. To me, makes sense so I can easily remember it. It's like it's a cognitive mechanism.
Memory hack. That's what it is.
I mean, I'm Michael in that respect. I probably know access passwords to probably about 20 or 30 accounts. I couldn't tell you what the passwords are, but I get the first digit and I go. You know.
Yep. Muscle memory.
Yeah.
It remembers better than you do.
Now the problem is I messed up if I switch keyboards.
Or try to do it on a phone.
I have a password on one of my things where I can do it if I'm on a keyboard, but I put special characters in, and if it doesn't have the characters above the numbers, I don't even remember the password. I don't remember the special characters. Because I know it by using the numbers, but it's
mine is I remember the actual password. I remember the whole thing, and without whether it's not muscle memory. It's actual it's a cognitive. It's a tool. Like there's a concept of painting a picture for memory. So you have it in your head, and you place certain things. Like you think of a place, and you put something in a particular section of that place that you know super well. So like your own house, then you say, okay, this one section is on this chair or something like that. And then you can just like think of an actual physical location and what there pops into your head. It's that kind of thing.
When you install an Ubuntu-based distro and you put your password and you're setting your password, you could put in like a 20 or 30 character long password, or you could put in a 10 character long password. It depends what you use. The 10 character could be much stronger than the 50 character. Because if you use a combination of capitals, lowercase, numbers, and special characters,
the easier it is to crack.
Sorry?
Always.
Yeah, because there are less possibilities.
The lower amount of characters. You can have, there's an XKCD on this where it says if you take something and has like 12 characters or 6 characters or something like that, I mean, it's all like, $ and symbol and all the symbols and stuff. No, correct horse battery staple is better password than like 12 gibberish symbols because it's longer and then there's no cognitive connection between one word to the next word. So like a password database is not going to be able to like brute force into weird words because they're going to see a word and go, oh, okay, that's a word. Now what's related to that word? And then they'll keep trying to go down the tree. Whereas once you go from this word and then this next word is not related in any way whatsoever, it breaks those rainbow table structures.
Just tell us your password so we understand better.
Okay. So it's no way, never, Ryan _
I knew I was in it.
It's also Ryan ! _DOSGeek.
Nice. I like it.
There's a bit in the middle that says I love XFCE too.
It's actually tuxdigital.com/Big Daddy Linux. That's what his password is.
You know, I love XFCE would be a good one. No one would suspect Michael's password would have that in there. Even if you hacked it and saw that, you'd be like, oh, this stupid program didn't work. That can't be his password.
That's not
it. You lied to me, Rainbow Table. You lied.
Well, it's
all lies.
Well, the whole point is that you can remember your only need is to remember one password. I think it's easier to remember one if you don't have to. Like, I don't even bother to remember most of my passwords because I don't have to.
Nice.
Like,
So
I'll still remember a few.
It's getting towards the end of the year, and I thought it would be fun to get your guys' take on what is your favorite distribution this year. The best distribution. Doesn't matter desktop. Let's just talk the distro overall.
Hannah Montana.
For production, I'm staying with for me personally, so that's what I'm doing. But if I'm looking at revising what I would recommend, I'm going to be adding a few distros, maybe taking a few distros off of what I'd recommend over last year.
Well, let's put it this way. Which one do you think is the best right now?
Yeah.
For who?
Me personally.
For you personally.
Me personally, Linux Mint Cinnamon.
That's what I use at work. I love it. It just
really?
works.
Which one?
Linux Mint Cinnamon. You use that at work too?
That's what I use at work.
I didn't know anyone was allowed to admit they used Mint.
You're allowed to admit it.
Says the guy who admits that he uses XFCE.
I use Debian on my desktop. I use Gentoo on my laptop.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, what do you think is the best?
Best is relative to what I needed to use a distro for.
Actually, yeah.
I'm not being facetious on that.
What would you prefer to use? What do you think is the best this year that you would want to use?
For you.
This year. Not forever, this year. Right now.
Who did the best this year for you?
Pretty much anything Arch-based that is on the pre-compiled and Antergos, more than likely.
Antergos, okay. Pete?
Antergos.
Another good decision.
Antergos with me too.
Scrap?
Another good decision.
Well, I'm on Neon.
Another
with
good
Plasma desktop, but
oh my gosh.
I've always had a fondness for Solus and what they're doing because they have embraced a lot of as much as Ike is on this is what I believe, he also realizes that he can't alienate everybody else. And what he's been doing well has actually been involving himself with other projects like the Mate guys and bringing in other this, that, and the other, and the things that are important to the community, and also the Steam integration that is now being pushed out via, I think, is it Snaps? They're doing it Snaps, and I don't know if they were doing flat packs at one point. But
Solus is doing Snaps.
Solus, but regardless, Snaps are now a cool thing. He's like, okay, I've done this thing. I don't necessarily have time to package it up and make it work on everybody's distro, but this is the easiest way to make it work on all their distros. Yeah, so if I had to move to anything, I'm looking at Solus right now because they have such a really good, I would say, policy about the way they do their distro and then all the things they're doing well. If they're not doing it well, they're not doing it, at least as far as I've been able to see from Ike. So
I agree.
That's
but I
very
also think
big.
that Ike is okay with alienating people.
He is, but at least he's alienating them well.
He's okay with alienating people, but he's
a great guy, but he's not like worried about alienating. But also,
he admits when he needs to change directions.
Yes, that is as long as if you are very opinionated and then you realize you're wrong and admit you're wrong, like maybe SN player, then it's fine.
XFCE, Organo.
So that's something you got to learn from Ike then, yeah?
No, it took me like 6 months to convince him to look at snaps more closely.
Ah,
Shane, you said Antergos?
Yep. Yeah, I
That's
used to
3
run.
volts.
Yeah, I used to run straight Arch, but I didn't feel like going through the install process anymore.
Yeah.
How dare you not want to do the?
Yeah, right? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Don't you even
Barb?
have to do that to be on this show? Or?
I love the whole concept behind Solus, but it doesn't work. Like I can't. It will not see my network server and all that kind of stuff, and that's a known issue. So and they're working on it.
Because we talked about that a little bit, Barbara.
Yeah, we've talked about it before.
Because I recently picked up a Lenovo Yoga, and I was having network issues, like because it's Broadcom.
Yeah, and stuff like that. So I like, and you guys are probably going to go. There she goes again. Ubuntu Mate, because it stays out of my way. It install Ubuntu Mate.
Not a bad choice.
No, it stays out of my way. It does what I want. The software that I need is available, and off I go. And I can make it look and work the way I want it to.
Anything with Ubuntu underneath of it is pretty much going to be a thumbs up for most people. If you got to...
What man.
You know, it's like Oreos. It tastes really good, but in the long run, it's not all that great for you.
It's like mint Oreos.
Well, mint right now and Antergos are winning. I mean, they're 3-2, so Mint's up there.
Colin?
Well, I really like Solus, and I've also had, and I think you too, Rocco, network issues. So at the moment, I'm using Ubuntu Budgie, and I'm going to make a video about them because that desktop is just amazing. And some of the applets, this guy that I don't know his name, but some of the applets he's put on there is really great. I'm really impressed by them. So
maybe Dustin.
I'm not sure who it was actually, but I don't know. But there was another guy who's been helping them out, and he made all the new applets for the Budgie desktop, and they're awesome because he did mention it on Destination Linux. I think Dustin did when he was on there.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're now within there, and they're absolutely awesome. So I want to show a few people about those. I think they're great.
Well,
so
I'm going to watch that video.
At the moment, it's a bunch of Budgie. At the moment,
One vote for Ubuntu Budgie.
I do like Solus though. I'm going to follow Solus, and I will be putting it back on once Budgie 11 comes out. I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Zeb?
Really? You have to.
Come on, Zeb.
I was like, I wonder.
You're so predictable, Zeb.
Zeb is nothing but predictable.
Because it's rock solid and just works. Peppermint rules.
Yeah.
Okay, peppermint rules. Peppermint for 1 vote, Ryan. Ryan, what's your vote?
This is hard, man, because I know every.
I like how it's your question. You're like, I don't want to answer it.
Well, no, it's difficult because up until last week, I would say Ubuntu, but Antergos right now is I have it installed on my Ryzen machine, and I'm just like, oh my God, is this so good with XFCE? It's just it's really solid. So I have to give some more time to it. But I guess if I had to pick right now, it'd be Ubuntu, but that may change in like a couple of weeks here.
So you're gonna be like a tie with Antergos and Ubuntu.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Rocco?
I would love to say Ubuntu, but that ain't gonna happen.
It sounds like you would love to say a lot of distros, but you have a lot of hardware problems.
Dude, I don't understand that. Okay,
It's the
and like
same way
I said,
with Manjaro.
this is exactly why I don't make videos anymore, because every time I install a distro, I got problems with it.
What's your hardware, Rocco?
A Pentium 4 3250U.
No, i7, 16 gigabytes of memory, 1080 card. You know, like
Try Mint.
nothing.
Try Mint.
Oh man, I don't know if I can try Mint.
Try Mint Cinnamon. I'm running a Core i5 right now. I have 0 problems with anything.
If there's a problem,
I think
Tom,
for
if there's a
Mint is
problem,
the
I will
problem.
find it.
Yeah,
I don't
he'll
think it's- I don't
let
think
you
it's
know
a
if
big
there's
deal.
a problem in a minute.
Trust me.
When he
And
installs
also,
it.
it also is like the Core i5 and 7 are very different because, like, one has hyper-threading, one doesn't.
Yeah.
You can get 5s with a hyper-thread now.
Did I mention the
that's good.
dotted lines in the settings area for XFC where there's dotted lines where there shouldn't be? Did I mention that?
No.
I'm just saying.
1 pixel wide.
Really?
Make a video, Rocco.
Really?
So I can blame it.
Of the problems.
That should be your
would be
thing.
interesting.
Make it
Actually,
your
that
thing.
would be interesting.
Why I
He's
don't
gonna
like
make a
that.
new show where he just talks about things that are just slightly off, and that video is going to be called, or the series, 4 pixels.
No,
4
like
pixels.
honestly, I honestly think that's like a valid criticism in like the Linux system now.
No, it's very true. There's most distros are ugly.
Yes, they are.
Almost all of them are ugly. It's like a requirement or something.
Oh, that's why you've got to modify it.
Here,
Wait a
take
minute,
these
get rid of that. It's not ugly.
Even elementary?
It's like,
Make it
oh,
your
that is a
own.
very
I don't like
nice
my
looking.
elementary.
No,
Oh,
ruin it.
well, if we're going to go with ugly, we might as well go with MP. What is it, MPV player?
So what's your choice, Rocco?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Rocco, you're not
You're
going to get
making
out
all
of
these
this.
jokes and you won't give a choice.
Right, and you're not going to get out of it.
Right? Okay, so I don't know exactly. Right now, if I had to choose, I guess I would go with
Hannah Montana.
Ubuntu 17.10. No.
No.
GNOME, no. Because,
Get on
like,
them.
I mean, I'm running it and I don't got any problems. I don't got any issues. The only issue I have with Ubuntu is when I'm playing games, and like I'll give you an example. The other day I was playing Rocket League, and some guy that's in this chat, one of the guys out of the other 11 people in here,
The one directly below you.
whenever I have Telegram open and I get a message while I'm playing a game, it takes my game and it brings it down like an inch off the top and an inch to the right, and it just moves the whole game when I get a message from Telegram. So some guy, one of the guys in this chat, sent me message after message after message, bang, 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 like 15 messages. They were actually photos while I was playing Rocket League, going for a goal. And my whole game was like going back and forth and back and forth. I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
Other than that, that's the only problem I have with Ubuntu. Other than that, I don't have any problems with it.
And it only does it with Rocket League. It doesn't do it with anything
No, it does
else.
it does it with all full screen games.
Huh.
Any kind of game that I have playing, that's what it does. If I have like if I'm running a game and I get a message from Steam, it'll minimize the whole game completely to pop up the Steam box. To check.
Yeah, I don't have that problem.
Bombarded now, don't it, with text messages from people? Hey,
But-
Rocco's
Is your problem, Cat?
Yeah, see that I'm playing Rocket League and send me a telegram. That's the best
Who
thing to
was
do.
sending you telegrams? That many telegrams? Let's name them.
I was gonna say.
Here's the question: does it happen only with games?
And what is the
Yes.
15 pictures of?
Okay.
I mean, what could
Maybe
you
we don't
possibly
want to know what
send
the
that-
pictures are, guys.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind. Moving on.
Yeah,
It was-
no,
it
that's not a
was-
good question.
Crazy subject.
It was funny. It was funny at the time, but like I said, I was just using that as a reason.
Oh, I bet you were howling as your screen.
Oh, I was.
bouncing down the
I was
screen.
like, you. Wait till I get a hold. But like I said, that's the only problem I have with it. Other than that's my choice for right now.
So you know what to do when you're playing Rocket League, didn't you?
What?
Shut Telegram down.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Zeb.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't play Rocket League.
Except
with
for the fact when you forget.
But then it's really
But
easy.
then you can
Don't
still-
text and drive.
Quit it, and then it'll be fine.
I do have a suggestion that actually will help you.
Yes.
If you don't use the notifications in the desktop app, you can use notifications on your phone. Use KDE Connect to connect your phone and your in your desktop. And you don't have to use KDE Connect. You don't have to use Plasma to use KDE Connect. It works on all distros and all DE. And it will allow you to just didn't put do not disturb on your phone, and that won't pop up at all.
So if I put Do Not Disturb on my phone, it won't pop up on the desktop.
And no one's going to bother you on your phone anyway.
No, if they send it to you on the phone, you have it like, let's say, if you don't have your desktop running the notifications, and I turn off notifications on my desktop Telegram always.
Yeah.
So I only get notifications from my phone. KDE Connect sends those notifications to my desktop. So I still get
Gotcha.
the notifications, but if I do not disturb my phone, it won't send it to KDE Connect anymore.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
So
Katie,
Charlie was thinking the pictures you were getting sent were pictures of Linux Mint.
No, they weren't Linux Mint.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
It's all good. It's all good.
Oh, I have a secondary recommendation.
You want,
You go on Scrap. What was that?
So, as far as distros, I do have a secondary recommendation, something I'm looking forward to next year. I use repos from KX Studio for like when I build my guitar and music stuff, because they're a distro based on Ubuntu with KDE, but unfortunately they're on the older KDE 4. They haven't moved forward. Well, they're moving forward, and next year they're going to release their distro with Plasma 5. But I use their repos because all of their audio and video stuff, I haven't done anything with video yet, but all their audio applications are more up to date. And they do a really good job of doing that. So everybody here's got microphones and we do some kind of audio. So if that's a thing you like to do, look at KX Studio and their repos.
I'll have to check them out.
Yep.
It is very. It is a very.
So I have a friend that's
creative-focused distro.
doing music that wants to go over to Linux. So I was going to run Ubuntu Studio on a computer for him. That's what he's running right now. But we're getting him a new computer soon. What do you think is the best distro for him?
I would either go with Ubuntu Studio or go with KX Studio. They're both Ubuntu based.
Okay.
Ubuntu Studio I haven't messed with. I just happened to find a good base to run on, which was Neon with Plasma 5, and KX Studio. I just added the repos. It was that easy, but I don't know
it uses KDE.
Yeah.
KX Studio uses KDE 4. Ubuntu Studio uses XFCE.
Oh, there you go, Ryan.
Yeah.
Know which one Ryan would use?
Yeah, right.
Ubuntu Studio is actually good.
I
they
love
have
Ubuntu
Jack set up by
Studio
default.
Yeah.
And that's cool. But I would say until KX Studio releases their Plasma 5 version next year, I would say if someone is not like comfortable with Linux already, it's something that they should use Ubuntu Studio instead.
Yeah, I think that's where we're going anyway. So we're just looking at the best software, the best hardware. He's still learning all the ropes of the music industry itself.
If you want to send him my way, go for it.
Yeah, I'll connect with you.
Hook up with me too.
And
I'll
if
help
he
out.
wants to chat with you sometime. After Christmas, he'll probably get the money for the computer around then. Then we'll get him hooked up and I'll get him set up. So.
Sweet. Yeah, because the biggest thing you're going to want with any of those type of distros is like the low latency kernel and stuff.
Actually, I'm not even using low latency kernel. A lot of that stuff has been upstreamed back into the main line. That the real time low latency kernel stuff is getting merged because
about time.
Yeah.
But you don't have to actually run KX Studio. You could just use the repositories, right?
Yeah, I just use the repos, and they recommend doing their there's some meta packages. I don't even use the meta packages. So, and those are basically their meta packages just pull down a lot of default applications. I was just picking and choosing, and they have a really good catalog, a listing of their audio apps on the website.
Well, there's a question for you from Spider Eyes. Are there any better system monitoring programs for Linux Mint? I miss sysinternals from Windows.
Wait, for which?
What kind of monitoring do you want? Network
System
monitoring?
Well, sysinternals for Windows was like a detailed program for like all information about your system.
You know, I mean, I like the one that's on Linux Mint by default.
Yeah, I was going to say the default Mint resource monitor isn't bad at all.
Yeah, but sysinternals gave you like really detailed information on memory and everything, like everything about your system.
Yeah. It does.
Give me a minute. I'll look at that and see exactly what's in there. I've got to boot that computer up. But.
Yeah,
the Mint is just a fork of GNOME's.
System Profiler one. What's the name of that one? System Profiler. That's pretty in depth, isn't it?
Forget.
HTOP is always nice if you don't care as much about a pretty GUI. But you can see all the processes, you can see the RAM usage, everything.
Yeah, it depends on how, like, what all data you want.
Yeah, it really does. It depends on what you want to see.
KSysGuard has a ton. Most of like you're gonna be limited in terms of like how extensive the details, depending on what you want, what's most important to you, kind of thing. Joe, that's a good point. Stacer is fantastic.
Ooh, hadn't heard of that one.
Yeah, I forgot about it completely until Joe pointed it out in the chat.
Yeah, Stacer's pretty good.
Stacer is fantastic. It not only does it look good, it gives you a lot of good data, and it's not electron based.
Ooh.
Anymore.
Incentive.
Anymore.
It used to be electron based, and they were like, we're going to make it native and make it cute. I was like, so when they announced that and they released the new version, they didn't even tell people they were doing that until they released the new version. And now the whole time I was looking at Stacer, I was like, this looks so good, and it gives the information I want, but it's electron, and that's ridiculous. Then they released the new version. It's like, oh, now it's fantastic.
Well, see, I mean, sysinternals. I don't know of a program that is comparable to sysinternals for Windows though, because it gave you everything, like everything from drivers to services to everything, DLL files.
I'm looking at the system in Windows and in Linux Mint right now, and they are pretty close to identical. The only thing that is different is the Windows has services.
Not the Windows default. He's talking about sysinternals, which is
okay. I don't know that one. I'm sorry.
It's a program.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see if what else is in Linux Mint. Gives me the process name, the memories, the priorities, CPU usage, memory usage, swap usage, network,
and files. Basic. Almost all resource or task managers do that. They do. Yeah, that's just what basics are. Sysinternals is way deeper.
Way deeper. Like I said, I don't know of a comparable program that's going to do everything all in one like that.
I don't think Stacer can do all of it either. I just think that Stacer it's got a lot of it, and it also looks very good. So depends on like what all you need from sysinternals.
But also, sysinternals was more than just one program. It was a whole suite of programs that you could zap together. You could download one big massive zip which had them all in there, but you could cherry pick which part of the sysinternal suite you wanted.
Yep.
And I'm just putting Stacer on Arch. We'll see how it goes. So if I suddenly disappear, you know it hasn't worked.
Oh, there it is.
Yep, it works.
Wow, Stacer is amazing.
Yep.
This is the coolest thing I've seen for this type of view in Linux. That's amazing.
Yeah, wow. I actually referenced it on one of my episodes, and then I don't like talking about applications back to back, and then like 1 week and then the next week, but I talked about it the next week. They released a non-electron version. I was like, okay, looks like I got to talk about it again.
Stacer.
Now I got to go find this thing, for crying out loud.
Optimizer. Is this like a CC cleaner?
No, forget the optimizer thing. I mean, you can do it for that, but just use it for what it can tell you about your system.
Yeah, it has both.
But I don't like optimization programs. They cause more problems than they fix, in my opinion. So now everybody's looking for Stacer.
Yeah, everybody's looking for Stacer all at the same time.
Put a link in the window how to install it.
Well, okay, while everybody's looking for Stacer, and I already use it and everything, so I'll just go ahead and skip that part. So I'll bring back a little bit of a topic and say that I just wanted to point out that Antergos has won the debate here in this discussion of which one is the best. So there you go.
Antergos did win.
A couple mentions. Yeah.
Look, I used to run Antergos, and it ran really well for me. I didn't switch off of it to get away from Antergos. I switched off of it to get back to Ubuntu based rather than Arch.
Mm-hmm. Where were the pixels missing in Antergos?
Antergos, I was running GNOME and KDE, and both of them were awesome.
Yeah.
It was the best implementation of an Arch KDE, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Best implementation of a GNOME version, Arch-based, hands down.
Wow.
Yeah.
So why are you not running it?
Because I wanted to get away from Arch and be on Ubuntu based.
Arch can be painful in many cases. Like, and Antergos is like making Arch polished, and Antergos also has like as far as the UI goes, every DE that is provided in Arch, I mean in Antergos, is like heavily customized and make sure that it works the best.
Mm.
So like it's always set up to be like the most like so that no pixels are offset.
So Rocco, we need to get someone from Antergos on our podcast.
I agree.
Hi, what's up?
Hey,
we could get Michael and talk about it.
We need to get someone besides Michael on our podcast.
Wait, Ryan.
Rocco, that's gonna be a really
Ryan
long podcast,
Keegan in the
buddy.
chat. He said next time he's at the bank, he's gonna say sudo apt get money and see what happens.
Install money. I love it.
Nice.
You never know. They do use Linux at
That's
those
real good.
ATM machines.
It's hilarious.
I'll talk to Dustin. He might do it.
Who?
I lost all my power.
Dustin.
Who's Dustin?
He's one of the developers of our Antergos.
Nice.
There's a couple of them, and he speaks English the best.
Okay.
Because he actually is a native English speaker, but the other ones
Rocco, we could have Michael and Dustin.
We could.
That's
if Michael's not too busy at that time.
Yeah, he is a very busy guy.
He's a very busy guy, you know.
That's true.
That's why he's always late to his own stuff.
But
today.
look, if he gets his stream on time early and gets all the editing done right away, kind of like he did today, he just might have time.
He might have time to show up and hang out with us.
Mm-hmm.
I guess batting 300 is good for you, Michael.
But don't you record on what day do y'all record?
We record when our guests are able, but generally it's
so whenever.
Generally it's Thursday or Friday nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good either one of those.
So how about Friday night? Friday night good?
I'll have to talk to Dustin.
Okay.
How awesome is that going to be?
I love our scheduling. Now you see how our scheduling works.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Dustin's going to be way more important in this conversation.
Yeah, but how fun would it be to have everybody there? That'd be awesome.
Well, I'm the.
It's because they're going to make fun of you the entire time, right?
Oh, of course we are.
I just like, as far as I'm not one of the main developers. I contribute patches and fixes and things like that, and I'll find bugs. I'll play with things and find bugs and go, hey, we need to fix this, and then I'll submit like, here's a potential fix. Better because you're better at this stuff, and that's usually what happens. I also do like UI improvements and stuff like that, but for the most part, I am more in the community side and support side. So I'm like, I'm aware of what's going on, but I'm not like the most important part of the team.
Quit talking yourself out of it. You're in Friday.
Friday it is. Settled.
This is the least I think I've heard you talk of yourself.
Ever.
This is the most modest I've ever heard.
Oh, that was quite amazing. Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
That was exactly the opposite of what I expected.
Yeah, I expected. Well, I'll get Dustin on, but he knows not nearly as much as I do, and he could be in the background for noise.
I'll let him speak a few times, you know.
Throw him a bone here and there. When I'm not fixing his code.
He's like, I'm too good to touch this code.
Oh, it's good stuff.
This is beneath me.
So
there it is.
This is degraded from poking
brought it
fun at Ryan all night to poking fun at Michael all night.
I like.
Well,
this
going back to Antergos, one of the reasons, the point that I switched from them was when they went to, I was running the GNOME version, and they went to Wayland by default, and they didn't really tell anybody. They just switched it. So maybe they told people, but they didn't tell me. They didn't come to my house and say, hey, Rocco, we're going to switch you to Wayland. So what I did was I just did what any normal person does, and I updated, and then all of a sudden my computer wouldn't boot.
What?
So I said, you know what?
Okay.
I'm probably going to go to Ubuntu based right now.
Okay, so let me respond to that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But looking at their
one day I was running running Antergos GNOME, and the next day my computer wouldn't boot because I had updated.
So one day I was running
That sucks.
Antergos KDE Plasma, and the next day I was running Neon and Antergos Plasma later again. But in order to get back to it, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And then, well, technically it wasn't Antergos' fault. It was an Arch fault. And it could be an Arch Wayland thing too. It could have been that, because like there are things that Antergos does adopt. Typically, the only thing there's only one DE that Antergos and Arch deviate from, and that's Mate. The other ones, they're very, very heavily connected, whereas there's extra layers on top. So if there's something happens in Arch that will modify Antergos, it could be bad. I've had a case where I was running KDE 4 at the time, and then all of a sudden Arch decided, you know what, Plasma 5 is ready. It was not.
You wouldn't have had that if you were using XFCE. And Antergos.
That's because they only update once every 5 years.
That's right, but you wouldn't have had the issue.
That is very true, but then I'd be using XFCE, and you know how that works out.
And you would still be in 1999.
You'd still be working.
But I wouldn't have K-Wave.
I don't want to be in 1999. I love crashes.
The point was, it was an easy fix after I realized what happened. Like a week later, I realized, oh, that's what happened. You know, when I heard the stories come out that they went to Wayland by default and all that stuff. But at the time, you know, like I'm in the middle of podcasts. I'm in the middle of, I need my machine, and I can't have my machine just all of a sudden not boot up. And that's why I switched to Ubuntu based. So, but Antergos was great while I was running it.
Hey, Rocco, would you do me a favor? Would you run Antergos XFCE to give XFCE a try?
You mean, like, what do you mean by run it? What do you mean by run it?
Instead of the install you did with Ubuntu, try
You mean like switch to Antergos now? Yeah, I could do that.
I think that would be awesome to get your opinion.
To be fair, Antergos FCE also has good polish. I've improved some of that stuff too. I'm not saying that I did it. I'm saying I improved things, and I've noticed it, and I've worked with it, and the polish is good.
Wait, where's that shovel at? Where's the shovel?
I'm saying
you've worked on
Basically, they sent me their crap code, and I fixed it.
That's not what I said. I've worked on XFCE. I've worked on pretty much every setup for Antergos. Including stuff I don't use, like OpenBox.
Wait till we talk to this Dustin guy and we tell him how much improvement that Michael has done.
I didn't say that.
Hey, Rocco, you just got our first question. I'm going to go put it in there.
How much is Michael done? Well, who's that guy? What?
Yeah, right.
Are we going to get Dustin on as well, though?
Well, I'm going to try to get Dustin anyway, whether I'm there or not. I think he's more accurate to someone who would be like in the know as much as like how far the development is going and stuff like that. Like some things I found out recently that Deepin was a part of Cinchi install, and I was like, oh, that's new. Like, it wasn't new. It was new to me because I haven't installed Antergos in like a very long time, because I typically just run the same install for years.
Rocco, you know what we could do?
What could we do?
Remember last time we decided to switch to Manjaro at the same time at night? About this time?
Yeah, about this time. You know, when we were recording the next day.
I remember.
It was genius.
It was the most ridiculous idea ever.
We couldn't get audio to work. Neither of us could talk to each other. We're over here miming at each other. Like,
whose idea was it?
Guess. Guess whose idea it was, Zeb.
What you should do is also
install like this
Antergos with whatever you want, and then right before you go live, run updates.
Yes, exactly. Good idea, Michael. Because you can never be too up to date, right?
Capital SYU.
Yep.
Here's a challenge for all 12 of us. We turn up next Friday, all on Antergos XFCE.
I love it. Let's do
it. Well, I mean, half of us are on it already, right? Yeah. Or at least Antergos part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what desktop, but we've all got to turn up running Antergos or Antergos.
Zeb will be the only one who's stuck with Peppermint and the only one who can record the podcast.
He'll have to do the streaming next week.
Well, does it count if I already have it on another thing?
Yeah, if you run it.
But you've got to be on here with it.
You got to be running it.
Michael, if you are any kind of, have any kind of manliness to you at all, you will show up to the podcast recording with Hannah Montana Linux.
Done.
I'm surprised nobody's created a theme for it.
Done. The guy down there is doing it.
That's what we need to do. We need to do a whole thing where we're all on some really strange, small, niche, awful
that would be fun.
distro.
Nobody wants to run XFCE anymore.
I'm sorry.
What the heck just happened?
No, that's just me.
That would be a burn to XFCE users, i.e. you.
All right, Tom, could you run Antergos? I know Colin could run Antergos because he can run anything. He can install anything. He's like the distro king.
I'd be willing to try it.
Tom, can you run Antergos?
Actually.
I'm sure I can get it going in a week. I mean, maybe I'll do that instead of run. I was going to run Solus Gnome next, but maybe I'll do Antergos instead.
Barb?
Yeah, I said I'd be willing to try it.
I'm
actually looking at their website right now. And by the way, their website's got some major problems in display.
Why?
Michael, can you go fix that?
Why?
Maybe you should Barb, I got a great idea. Why don't you talk to not only a web developer, but somebody who's connected with the Antergos team?
Yeah. He could probably fix that right now.
I don't know.
Yeah,
probably.
Because what it's doing is it just cuts off part of it.
Well, Michael.
Top. And has this
I think it's this guy somewhere down
image
here.
that's like half missing. And I'm using Firefox 57.
Oh, crap.
So, and Firefox has been working really well. So, and this is the first site I've come across where it kind of puked on itself.
I don't see that. I'm using the exact same thing. I don't see that.
I do.
Show me a screenshot, please.
I will.
Thank you.
Michael, Charlie Brown has a question about Antergos in the chat.
Alrighty.
You gotta wait for the live stream later. You gotta wait for the podcast.
I actually look at the question.
Does Antergos work with an R9 380 video cards with AMGPU Pro or the latest branch of Mesa?
Oh wait.
I can't answer that question because I don't know I don't have that kind of card, but I do know AMG GPU Pro works.
Okay.
As latest Mesa.
Here we go.
Know that
Can't
card.
go away.
That card
Share
should work.
screen.
Don't do the share screen. Actually, that won't work.
Where do you want me to do then? Just where do you want me to put it?
Telegram it and just do the Destination Linux Telegram. That'll work.
Okay, no problem. I can do that.
I actually had trouble installing Antergos on one of my machines, and I can't remember which one it was, whether it's the one I'm using now or the Intel NUC. But I couldn't install it, actually, Antergos.
There's a weird thing about Antergos. There's Cincy is fantastic. And sometimes it's broken.
I never had an issue with installing Antergos.
I've had it.
I won't. I don't want to make that bold of a statement. I don't remember ever having an issue with Antergos.
I mean, I've tried it, and I've tried the development branches and all kinds of stuff. So I've experienced some weird stuff, but I've had reports. All right, cool. I've had reports where people will say that it's like absolutely broken, and then like a month later they'll come back and say, "Oh, I tried it again and it's fine." Like, no idea. They didn't change their hardware or anything. It's like sometimes it just works, sometimes it doesn't. Oh, you went to try it. Okay, now I wasn't on that page.
Oh yeah.
And
So
we're doing
it's a little bit ill.
You can pick whatever you want, Tom. You can pick whatever desktop environment you want.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me.
I guess after I get it downloaded, I'll see what my options are.
Yeah, because they have pretty much any desktop environment you want.
Yeah, it does say 6 different desktop environments.
I wasn't going to ask because I'm sure I'll figure that out pretty quick.
Download.
Yeah, just download the minimal, and then you can build it from there for yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, the minimal is just the minimal doesn't change anything. Like that's just how much the ISO size is.
Yeah.
The content of the minimal and the regular one are basically the same. Like what they install is the same thing. Yeah, I don't see that thing either. That's weird.
You don't see what I saw?
No.
Could it be the display resolution on her computer?
1080.
What's the thing you're seeing?
Oh, I sent it to the Telegram group. It just like cuts off the top part of it. Maybe the top third.
There it is.
Weird.
Size.
Yeah, mine's not doing that on Firefox.
It's a weird JavaScript problem. Okay.
Okay, so it's not me. Thank you.
I mean, it's no. I don't know what mine's happening. I've never seen this happen before, but it's definitely a JavaScript.
See, Rocco, you're not the only one.
You're right. Well, Shane, you don't have to do anything for next week because you're already running it. So there you go.
Yeah, I'll stick it on the other partition on here.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, while you guys were playing Rocket League.
Oh, jeez.
But I'm having issues with high DPI because I run 2 4K monitors.
Oh.
Jiminy Christmas.
Does XFCE not have high DPI support or what?
I could have sworn they recently updated that.
It's kind of buried in there. You can change the text size and the icon size individually.
You're right. 2003 does not have high DPI.
Wow.
What monitor size are you running there, Shane?
I'm running 2 27-inch LGs.
All right, yeah. See, for me, 27-inch on 4K is just too small. As you say, everything's like pinpoint.
Super dense.
It does have support for high DPI.
I couldn't find it.
It's not very good support, Ryan. Sorry. I mean, the only reason I don't suffer is 43-inch monitor. But if you go down to 27-inch, I mean, even Ike swears at it because it's just pinpoint stuff. You can't see it properly.
Well, maybe in 2003 they didn't have 27-inch screens.
No, or 4K monitors are big.
Rocco, what's happened to you? What's wrong with you, man?
For some reason, I don't think he's liking XFCE all that much right now, Ryan.
I want to like XFCE so much, but it's just giving me issues.
The high DPI issue is definitely there. It's because it uses like an ancient toolkit. So like when they switch over, when 4.14 comes out, there's a much higher likelihood that the high DPI will be better.
Yeah, I couldn't get it to load my color profiles either because I do photography and I need the monitors to be accurate.
Right.
So you have 4K IPS?
Yes.
Nice.
So talk to me about the color profiles because I never know what they're for. Like what I mean, like it's just to get accurate colors or what?
Yeah, RGB
color scanner. I put this on the monitor and it reads the colors through display cal. And it just forces the monitor to display really accurate color when you're editing photos. I use dark. Yep. Yeah, I use Darktable and GIMP.
Ouch.
Pretty much. Yep.
Michael's not a GIMP fan. I've realized that.
Darktable's fantastic, though.
I use the development version of GIMP because I need the 16-bit color support.
Yeah. And it's only been a decade since that was made as a plugin.
Yeah. It'll be 30 years by the time they release 210.
Probably. That's almost as harsh as I am on XFCE.
No, actually, I cannot stand GIMP. I cannot stand it. It is great for people who are not professionals, but professionals, you have to just like suffer through it. Like if you really want to do professional work with GIMP, it's like
I don't know, Michael. I think it's just a matter of getting used to it because I'm completely.
It's the fact that it has not an ability to do stuff.
Well, I changed the keyboard shortcuts to match Photoshop.
There's some things that it doesn't do as well as some things it does better.
What's one thing it does better?
One thing it does better is much easier manipulation of selections.
Compared to what?
Photoshop.
What?
Photoshop selection is
Photoshop selection is bar none.
Good, but
That's
with
like-
GIMP, I have the ability to have drag bars and drag things better. Don't have that on Photoshop, at least not the version of Photoshop I have, which is CS4.
Oh, there's your problem. There it is.
Let me tell you why I have CS4. Because although I'm a professional, I'm a small business professional. I don't have a big corporation behind me. I can't afford to throw thousands of dollars out for new versions of Photoshop. So I use CS4.
That's why it's 220.
What's up?
It's 220 a year now.
Yeah, I'm not paying $220 a year. I paid $1,000 for it 8 years ago.
Right, but I'm saying what you cannot compare what was made 8 years ago as what Photoshop can do now.
Yeah.
When you're comparing
But I wouldn't
now
to,
to
because there's free
Photoshop
and
8
open
years
source software that does everything I need it to do. And that's
again,
why I
but
bought
you're comparing something that you had 8 years ago versus something that's currently made now.
And there is no other functionality I need. That's what I'm saying.
Again, GIMP now, Photoshop 8 years ago, those comparisons are not, they're not
It
fair.
doesn't matter. It does everything I need an application to do. It doesn't matter if Photoshop now has this better
But
whatever.
what about GIMP now
But you were
compared to GIMP
saying,
from 8 years
you
ago?
said this is better than Photoshop, not this is better than my ancient version of Photoshop.
Okay, whatever. Then drop the semantics. GIMP still does everything it needs to do.
That's a very specific statement. If you make a declaration, it's better than the top professional application available. It has to be one that's actually currently available.
I'm going to completely disagree with you on the basis of semantics, Michael.
I like you.
Okay, how about them Phillies? All right.
Like, I don't even care if you think the selection is better anyway, because like the Photoshop isn't like selection is the pin tool in Photoshop. Checkmate.
Well, look, this is what's great about it, right? Tom can use GIMP and you could use Photoshop and everybody's happy. There you go.
My point. He was when I have always said
I know.
GIMP is great for non-professionals. When you go into the professional
GIMP
side,
is a fabulous tool. I do full-scale production quality work on GIMP without a problem. That's what I'm saying. So why
GIMP
would
is
I
also
want to
destructive.
here for an application that I can get for free for the same functionality? That's what I'm saying.
It's not the same.
There's only one way to solve this, and that's a dance-off.
Yes.
Let's do it. Tom, you're up first.
It's an application challenge.
But, okay,
Do we
what
get to pick each other's music?
Does somebody somebody put on music, will you?
I think. I think.
I was gonna say, Ski, you want to
and I'll have
bust out a riff?
Scrap, can you like supply us with some music for the dancer?
Some hoedown country music. Let's get them toes tapping.
All right, so it's settled, right, that we're all going to be running Antergos next week?
Yep.
Well, most of us already are.
Yeah,
Some of us aren't, but we will be brave and do it.
I'll give it a go. I'll see if I can install it again.
Okay.
The question is, does it work? Will it have any problems installing if I put it on a different partition?
No.
No, it'll be fine.
Okay.
Fine.
And
Nope.
yeah, okay.
I do want
just
to
make
point
sure
out
everything's
that,
backed up first.
I don't like saying that Antergos is good for best for everybody, because it's there are limitations to it, like but it still is Arch based, so you're still dealing with Arch. So to be fair, like if anybody's going to try to do it, with us as well, be warned, it is still Arch.
Look, this is not a requirement for next week, okay?
Well,
so you don't.
fun.
Nobody has to do it. Like not everybody has to do it, but it'd be cool to do.
That's my default.
If you're gonna check it out already, Michael,
I work.
And yes, Trip, this will be on real hardware, not in a VM.
This would be fun.
it will not be in a VM. Look at the Raspberry Pi Scraps holding up.
A VM is not
nice.
Not
This is your challenge: running Arch and being here on this.
Yeah.
No.
I'm going to try to come in here on this one night. I promise it'll happen.
Yeah,
My video might be like 5
I was gonna
pixels,
say-
but it'll be okay.
That will drive
How long
Rocco
are you
nuts.
going to actually stay connected is the thing.
No, but
It's
that's
got
by
Ethernet.
Pi 3. You're pretty much good to go.
Yeah, it's 3. It's got Ethernet. It's good.
Yeah, it's good to go.
Hey, Chip, I expect you to be doing it as well.
I mean, I have a regular Pi like B original B that could run Arch. So the Pi 3 is definitely gonna be able to do it. I mean, I know it.
Yes,
I know
it
can run
does.
Arch
It does
down.
run Arch. It runs it actually pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, technically it's more. It's being pedantic, but it's Arch Linux ARM variant. So it's technically a different distro.
Yeah.
So if people are like already familiar with Arch, there's a lot of things that you cannot do in that version because it's not technically Arch.
There's a lot of AUR that's there though that is compiled for ARM, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean the fact that you can do the AUR is actually good to have it because you can compile it yourself, but on the Pi is like
Thank you, Kat.
painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd prefer to run. I don't like having to check out websites and what the updates are and all that when it comes to Arch-based distros. So I prefer something that's just going to update and be done with it. That's why I stick to mainly Ubuntu-based distros. Solus is pretty good as well, so quite reliable. Yeah. Only problem I've had with Solus is it would not boot after a NVIDIA install. So that's the only issue I've had with that. And that comes down to this hardware, I believe.
Does anybody know how close the KDE version of Solus is?
They got all the stuff in there, I believe, all the Qt stuff. Somebody's actually running it. I've seen on Google Plus, but it's got issues still. So, but they're getting
It's possible
closer.
to run it, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not edition ready. Like you can install the minimal version of Solus and then install.
It's KDE. I mean, what do you expect?
Dang. And going after everything. Rocco's just on a rampage. He's like, I don't care what you run, it sucks.
Nuking paid, bro.
I think he's recovering from having to work on Black Friday.
It's just
anger.
Totally frustrating.
Rocco,
That's
are
when you
you
see the
talking
worst
about-
of humanity.
I was going to say, Rocco, are you talking about Black Friday or you having to use XFCE?
Both. Yes. Yes.
From KDE to XFCE, Rocco hates them all. You know what you should try is Pop OS.
I don't hate anything. I just wish they'd actually, work.
I just wish they were good.
Man,
I just wish they
Pop
were.
OS
I wish
is
the pixels where they're supposed to be.
Pop OS is based on what? Ubuntu GNOME, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll work good.
Yeah, it is Ubuntu GNOME. It's Ubuntu GNOME with a theme.
So it'll work good.
So it's a new distro.
Should try it.
So then there won't be any problems.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, if you like GNOME GNOME, it's your thing. Then enjoy using GNOME GNOME.
I do like GNOME GNOME actually.
All right, then cool. I like the GNOME GNOME workflow flow.
But
No.
Ryan,
Yeah.
after this whole XFCE thing, you're going to have to run GNOME for a while. GNOME.
I have run GNOME for a while.
No. I don't mean like for a day. I mean you're going to have to like do
I
a
had-
podcast on it and everything.
Well, when we were going to do our video on Ubuntu 17.10 that never happened, I ran it for several weeks making notes on it. And I thought, what an amazing desktop environment for a tablet.
Wow. Wow.
What's hilarious is that GNOME GNOME, like every time someone asks them, like, is it made for tablets? Like, no.
But it should.
They could have fooled me.
Unity
For about
was
the last-
kind of.
They specifically said that it's not tablets and it doesn't work well on tablets, and they are correct. It does not.
What? GNOME? No.
It doesn't work well to begin with.
Works perfectly fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
I can't argue with that, really.
I've got somebody running that's never run Linux before running the GNOME desktop on a tablet, and it's the best. It's got all the features, the right, you hold your finger down, it's got the right click functions and all that. It's
What
better
distro?
than any other distro, really.
What
I
distro?
find it just GNOME. It doesn't matter which one, GNOME works well. on a tablet.
I mean, it does matter
On a tablet
because the different distros will actually.
Well, it was all right. No, I had Solus. It was using Solus.
Okay. Then they probably took into consideration for it, which is like they do a lot of things I wouldn't expect them to do, so they might actually have done that.
Right.
Okay. Somebody asked in the chat, "What's the point of GNOME? It's just as bad as Unity. They like desktop icons on the start menu. It screams touch tablet GUI."
Amen.
Actually, I will go so far as to say that Unity was a better GNOME than GNOME was.
Charlie, that is ridiculously accurate.
I actually think Unity is fantastic. People give it a lot of crap, but it's actually.
I think I just might switch back to Unity. Oh, that's right. It's no longer there.
That's not true.
1604.
You can install Unity.
However, 1604 and Ubuntu Unity flavor is coming soon.
Yeah,
that is true. They're talking about putting it back in the LTS.
But I thought that they had said that even though it's still available, it might not work exactly.
No, they're actually making a whole flavors with Unity on top of 1804. So they've already
they're doing another LTS with Unity.
They said they're going to make at least one release every week or so.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they had said that you could still install Unity if you wanted to, but parts of it would not react the same way that people would expect them to react like.
Right. That's what they're doing is fixing that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this is like
yeah, that's what I heard. So
this is just a flavor they're doing. So like they're not.
This would be like a Kubuntu or a Ubuntu Budgie, any of those types. It would be Ubuntu Unity.
Yeah, they're adopting the work of Unity, and I think at least one of the people used to be a developer for Unity. So like, I know at least one of them was a maintainer for bug packaging for Unity. So like, it's in people. It's a lot of people who are working on it or were already working on it. So it has potential that the Ubuntu Unity flavor could just be the continuation of Ubuntu with Unity.
Right.
And do know what we mean 7?
Yeah, it's basically just people who basically decided to resurrect a dead project and keep it going so it doesn't stay dead.
That's not at all what it is now.
Or just to help the people that are kind of left hanging.
Who created the project in the first place, continuing to make it.
Well, yeah.
It's not resurrecting a dead project.
Well, I mean, dead to canonical, I guess.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Next.
I was reading the chat. Why was that? Yeah, I was like, why was that blocked? I'm like,
I think because it had stuff like Ugly Pig in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's definitely offensive.
After all of
Like,
this
that's a little weird.
hatred towards XFCE, I've got to go. I'm leaving.
That's it.
I'm taking my ball and going home.
You're being the Yahoo turtle, and you're saying, that's it. I'm out of here.
Actually, I've got Antergos here on my USB, and I'm going to go install it and get ready for next week.
Okay, so how about we do this?
Downloading, it's
Why
taking
don't I
forever.
just install the Antergos GNOME version, and I'll be right at home.
Why?
I'll be right at home then.
Are you have a tablet or something?
Wow.
Did you get a new iPad?
I was going to say, hey, Rocco, how many extensions?
I don't know how many extensions I would need in Antergos because, like I said, I only have a few on the.
Hey, does GNOME still have that awesome feature where you move your taskbar down to the bottom and it moves your show applications all the way to the right?
Yes.
That's such a great feature.
That's the Unity version of GNOME.
But you can change that.
But the Ubuntu
With an extension.
Oh, you
No, they confederate.
I don't understand the hate for extensions because as long as you can do it, who cares? I don't understand
Because
the
it's just
hate
a
for
pain in the neck to find the ones that you want.
Right.
But if you run GNOME, you already know the extensions you want. Like I run GNOME. I know exactly what I'm going to install. I'm going to install these 4. That's it.
Yeah. Well, you're experienced with GNOME. What about new users? Like, well, screw you.
Who cares about them? I mean,
welcome to
I really
Linux.
think, though, if you were trying
Well,
to
considering
use
at one
that-
point you did, Rocco.
But for a new user to Linux, I don't
Do you
think
even
that
know what
GNOME
a
would be the
man
right
page
thing.
is?
wow.
Yeah, read the
Because they'd say, well, I want to
Read
do
the
this, and they
manual,
have to tell them, go download an
TFM.
extension.
You're right, Barb, and you're right. It shouldn't necessarily be in an extension,
Yeah.
but there's no way that you're going to please everybody with adding this feature or adding that feature. You know, you can run KDE and there's 1,000 features, and then people say there's too many features.
Charlie said Rocco got the Apple Touch Bar ready for
So what I'm saying is you're never going to please people. If you give them too many options, they're going to say there's too many options. If you give them no options like GNOME, then there's no options. No matter what they do, some people are just not going to be happy with it. I'm just happy that you can have extensions and change it around.
With that being said, Rocco, here's a good serious discussion point. What is the best distro, or the best desktop environment rather, that doesn't have too many options but doesn't have too few?
Solus, not Budgie.
I would have to say Ubuntu Mate.
Yeah, Mate or Budgie.
Mate.
Because Mate has a really good balance between having enough to where you can custom. Budgie is it's really beautiful and it's really nice, but it doesn't have, in my opinion, it doesn't have enough options to change around. Mate has that perfect balance of not too much, but enough to where you can do just about anything.
And you can make it so that it works with your workflow. That's why I use it.
Yep.
And it actually has at least halfway decent high DPI support, unlike certain other desktops, Ryan.
Ubuntu Budgie, Rocco. Try Ubuntu Budgie. Try Ubuntu Budgie.
Well, I said Ubuntu Budgie has great defaults and it looks beautiful, but at some point there's always a point in time with Budgie where I get to the point where I want to change this and I can't.
What were the things you wanted to change?
Like, for example, the menu. I can't do anything with the menu. I can't change nothing on the menu. Nothing. That's just one example. So I'm just, like I said, XFCE has a lot of options, but some of it is, you got to edit files. KDE has a ton of options, but you can get lost in those options.
Yeah, I have to admit,
Mate has that perfect balance, I think.
And you don't have to edit a whole bunch of config files or anything with Mate. Mm-hmm. Most of it is, so for the new user, it's good.
I will say that, and I might get hate mail for this, I will say that Cinnamon has a really good balance as well for having enough options to change around and not get too lost in it.
That's Big Daddy Linux at Gmail.
Hey, you know what? You sent your hate mail about that to me because I'm the one that actually runs Linux Mint, and I completely concur. And I'll defend it because it works.
I ran Linux Mint Cinnamon for a while, and it really does have a good balance of options. There are other reasons why I don't run it, but
security.
As far as
one of those, Rocco.
As far as options for changing it to the way you want it to be, it has a pretty good set. So
absolutely, I have to agree with that. Cinnamon is one of the best when it comes to that, and theming is excellent on Cinnamon as well. There's no issues with theming. Everything normally just works. And well, when you talk of extensions and all that, they've got applets, desklets, and all these types of things as well. They're classified as extensions pretty much, aren't they? Yeah,
and Rocco, since you use everything Google, why do you care about security? So just run it.
Because it goes through a VPN.
Such hate. Such hate.
Man.
I don't have a problem with extensions. I don't. I'll give GNOME some flack for the way they treat extension writers, but I don't care about, I don't think that the idea of an extension is so bad that you can't, they'd automatically make something bad. I think extensions are fantastic because you allow you to have a core foundational importance, then you can then improve later on.
So well, it's the same as Firefox. You have Firefox as a core browser, but then you have all these add-ons, extensions that change everything.
Sure. And also, any kind of when I build a CMS or I work on something like that, I always want to use a plugin system I don't want to have a system that requires plugins to be functional. But I want something that allows me to use plugins to improve what is there. So I don't like the idea that GNOME is reliant on extensions to be functional. but I don't have a problem with extensions in general. My main thing about GNOME is their
attitude,
bad approach to people's the developers, and like, for example, when a developer has an issue, they just ignore them, and that's a pretty annoying thing.
Much like new users.
Much like anybody who has an opinion that they don't appreciate. If you have an opinion that doesn't flow with their vision, you might as well just keep it to yourself.
Well, newsflash, I'm going to personally say their default vision is terrible.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that the Budgie desktop will mature to the point that what the Cinnamon desktop is, but probably a bit more rock solid, I would say. But
it could be cool.
But I can see Budgie going that way, and I hope it does, because and then you've got all the options and maybe a few menus chucked in as well, or something like that.
I hope it does too, Colin. I think it's really, good. It's just like I said, I could run it, but
it's the menu that kills it for you.
It really is. I hate to say it comes down to a menu, but that's like a big breaking point for me. And I can run it, but then after a while, like I said, I want to be able to do this and I can't, or I want to be able to do that and I can't. It's like, it's nothing major. It's not like, oh, this is terrible. It just starts to build, and I'm like, you know what? On this desktop environment, I can do that. On this desktop environment, I can have this kind of menu. And I just get to the point where I say, you know what? I might as well run that desktop environment. So
that's the nice thing about Linux, is being able to choose that DE. And so, when I think about people trying to get them on a Linux distro, I don't think about Ubuntu underneath or Antergos underneath. I mean, to myself, I do, but for them, I think, okay, what are they using? Are they a Mac person? Are they a Windows person? Or what version of Windows are they on? I'm like, and let's go there. And I was like, here's a flash drive, stick it in your computer and hit smash F12 and boot from it and use Firefox. Go for it. See what you think. That's what's nice. And that's what we use.
Yeah.
That's what we see. It's what we interact with.
As long as that flash drive distro has Ubuntu on it, then yep.
Yeah.
Rocco, I gotta go. My last word, Antergos.
Antergos. Next week, Antergos.
Yes.
I'll be fair about something.
See you, brother.
I don't necessarily like Mint in general, but Cinnamon is actually a good DE. I do like Antergos version of Cinnamon. It's quite good. Cinnamon is a nice combination of both power, but not so much that it becomes overwhelming.
I have to agree.
Although Mint needs to work on their default Cinnamon, the theme needs work.
Yeah. Kind of like the rest of the distro to begin with.
Pretty much.
Here we go again.
I didn't say it.
Sorry.
No, I know. I know you didn't.
And
I don't hate everything Mint does. I don't like their approach of building a distro, but their DE is nice.
I was gonna say I love the DE. I love Cinnamon. My gripe with, kind of like you, Michael, is with how they rate stuff for updates is more than anything else. I was running whatever the 1404 version was base for the longest time as like my Steam OS machine.
17.
And but it was, after a while things start breaking, so because of the way they hold updates and stuff on certain things.
I used to be a heavy Mint user many years ago, and I even contributed to the Mint projects in certain cases, like, for example, their apt Python script. I built stuff into it. So overall, I'm not saying that their stuff is like worthless or anything. They do make some good stuff, and they have some good ideas. They also just have other ideas that are atrocious. So, like,
you can say that about any distro, really.
I wouldn't say they have like purposefully doing things that are bad design. That's the thing I don't like.
Okay, gotcha.
It's like, as far as like, then they do things that are good. That's cool. Like the idea that their apt their implementation of apt, making apt better instead of using the apt-get structure and stuff. They started doing that in like 2009. So like it was a very good approach, or 2010 maybe. So that they thought about it. You know, apt-get is terrible. It's very hard and confusing. It's a cool system. Like apt overall is good, but the implementation as usability and a user experience is bad, and it always was. Then they were like, okay, we're going to make a better way, and we're going to do it through Python. I don't really like the way they did it with Python. However, they were right about making a better experience, and eventually Debian agreed and made their own. I like Debian's better, but I still think that Mint's decision was good at the time. They also do other things that I think are absolutely awful, like considering making their own packages higher priority than everything else, regardless if you install a PPA or not. I think that's awful. But like, you know, they do make really good things, as in Cinnamon, for example. I wish Cinnamon was better on resources than it is, but overall, it's a fantastic an option. I would just rather use it on Antergos. That's all.
Tom, what do you like about Cinnamon the most?
For me, it's the workflow. It's it's the exact workflow that I've used for years, and as many as different workflows as I've tried, I always go back to that exact workflow. So it basically mirrors a Windows system in workflow, and that's absolutely how I work fast and efficiently.
So do you stick with the default menu?
I do use yes and no. I do stick with the default menu, but I do customize it a little bit. I don't use the full custom or advanced menu. I use the main menu because I really like it. I just customize a few things. I'll move things from one category to another, etc.
Nice.
So do you run level 5 updates always?
No. I've had problems with upgrading kernel and getting the VirtualBox to work, whether or not I've updated it or whatever. So I just kind of keep the kernel where it is, which is a level 5. Other level 5s, I think I've run other level 5s other than the kernel.
Which would never happen on regular.
I didn't say it.
Wow. All right, so it's 12:38, 12:39. So
pumpkin time.
It's pumpkin time.
Pumpkin.
So everybody gets the last word. Zeb.
See you on Antergos next week.
See you next week. Barb.
I'm downloading it now. I'm going to install it tomorrow.
Wow, that's awesome. Tom?
I'm installing Antergos deep in right now on the other computer.
There you go. Michael?
Tuxdigital.com.
Wait, did you say tuxdigital.com/Antergos?
Yeah.
What did you put there?
Antergos.
Oh, okay.
It just redirects you to the Antergos website.
Yeah. I should make it redirect to this episode.
You should.
There you go.
Matt, last word.
Already on Antergos?
Wow. All right. Colin?
Antergos, crossing my fingers.
Scrap.
So coming up, I'm going to be doing some YouTube of my own. If you search YouTube for Linux audio, you get like a few days ago, couple weeks ago, then you started getting into months and years. There's like nothing. So I've been using it for the better part of a year. Might as well put some content on there to help people get things going, because otherwise you're just searching through tons and tons of forums.
No. Oh, come on. How old are the videos for like mix and stuff?
It's dumb.
So do you have your channel created yet?
I technically have a channel, but there's nothing there. So we'll just leave that to stay tuned.
All right. Stay tuned
channel
for more news from Scrapjaw.
It will be SJ Studios.
Nice.
Nice.
Pete.
Really, Michael?
I guess I'll stand up. I'll stand up for Ryan. I'm rocking XSV on the Pinebook.
Oh my gosh, on the Pinebook?
Yeah.
The $99 computer.
Nice. Jonas.
What's up?
Last word.
Last word. I don't know. May or may not be here next week, but I did download Antergos. It will be in a VM because I don't have time to switch my main rig at the moment. Not with.
I got you.
Not with what I'm doing.
Well, you'll at least be able to join in then.
Yeah, I'll get my 2 cents. Honestly, I haven't played with Antergos in like maybe 4 or 5 years. So let's see what they've done.
All right, Shane.
I'm gonna try to be on XFC next week.
All right.
Ryan would be happy.
So the last word is check out the latest Destination Linux on Monday with Dolphin Oracle from MX Linux.
Oh, cool.
All right. We'll see everybody next week.
Good night.
See everybody.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Thanks, Jen. Bye-bye.
So.